All right. Yeah. Why did I go get molds when you can get? What is it? Doo-doo-doo. Let's get this little goodie box. And turtles. When you can. Well, there's a turtle. That's the same example. You can get a turtle one too, did I? So you got these ones here. See, they got a couple of rocks in the bottom there, and then there's some glitter and stuff. With the epoxy, right? And they're not too light, so you can tell if it's glass or not. Sometimes by the weight, because you can weigh these stones, and they can roughly tell you how heavy they should be to fake glass ones, right? And then if you wanted to, without opening it up, right? That's how you do math. And then you can weigh this, and then find out if it's glass stones in there, looking like stones, saying they're stones, so they get it cheaper. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to look at it. And if you don't, you could say that they're crystal stones with epoxy. True. Huh? But you wouldn't whinge too much as they're cheap anyway. But they just make it look better. That's how that kind of advertising is. Just make it sound great. And we're allowed to do that at the moment. But there's certain areas where I'd like to talk about in the future about these certain areas. But other than that, it's all good to do what they do to sell what products they want to sell. Right? Just when it comes to wording and certain other things, I'll talk more about in the future, besides on this clip. But that's them there. You can get them down to about 80 cents, roughly, is what I've seen so far. You might get them cheaper than that, right? But at 80 cents or 86 cents or something, we'll just say 90 cents, right? We'll even go bucks easy. At $1, because they're all about $1.30, $2 range, a lot that I've seen. Right? But get them at $1, a pretty good thing, just over $1. Because it all depends on the timing on Temu as well when it comes to tinker. And so when it comes to these, I wanted to see how much it would cost me to make a pile myself, and how cheap could they go with maybe some labour and doing it yourself with certain costs, right? Because you can only work with the cost of materials, so people can get cheaper with labour, materials and machines. Right? But I'm curious if I can get it that price still or cheaper with buying cheap things with this cheap system. Pretty much, you know what I mean? So you're just putting in your labour. So if you put in labour, you're going to get a better product still, like it is in some cases when it comes to things. It might be roughly the same cost, but plus labour, but you'll get a better product. Or you don't do anything and you just get this product, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up some. These 2 bags here, I've got a kilo, 500 gram in each one. Pretty full, 500. It might have been 400. No, I'm pretty sure it's 5. It's a kilo, I'm pretty sure. But I'll have to double check that. For $7, right? For both of these, for the kilo. And I want to see how many I can make out of these 2 bags. And that was a pretty good deal, because usually it could be double that, even on Temu. So you get between $14 for a kilo of this, down to roughly $7, or cheaper you like. This is what I know, right? When it comes to buying at certain times, as I had to pay a couple of bucks more for an 800 kilo bag than I did last time on that. Because if you want it at a certain time, you can wear the weight, and you get the right time in and see things, then it's best to order when you can, which is what I'm trying to do with a low budget. So with a low budget, you got to wait for a bit. It takes time, and doing this and doing that, and that's what I'm doing. But I'll get in that, right? We can get more if you're into it by sacrificing more in your life, which is what also I'm juggling around and trying to help others to do the similar thing, so that way we can push out even more of what we're already playing with, what we got, right? Just by doing different policies. Right? That's how it rolls. And so I'm going to make up these. I could probably make up a few. I reckon it'd be at least 20 of them in this bag, half full at least or more in there. Add some stones up and then fill up the gaps, pretty much when I want to do it. Pretty much fill it up. How I do that is, and the epoxy has gone down actually. That price is quite surprising. Things don't usually go down. It went down about $5 since last bought it. The epoxy is $30 odd, right? So I'll put the price of that and how many you can make for a litre of epoxy, right? And these, and then pour it in there. But that price cost anyway. You can always get things cheaper, but that's how you work out what you know at the moment what you can do, right? And the cheapest, best epoxy, the cheapest I found is the one I get, right? And now with the crystals, and I got myself a mold, and the mold's only 80 odd cents. get these down to 60 cents or something like that. So you can buy more, so you can do more at once. But I'm not here to make money. I do a little bit of things with the art, and so save you a little bit of time as well. In certain areas, you can have molds and essentials and that while you do art. Right? This is what I'm doing. And so I'm going to make up better ones because they look a little bit light and cheapish to me to use in a spiritual art or an art piece that I call. Right? I don't mind to use it for a quick made-up piece and stuff like that, which I'll use it for. Right? But nice pieces, I'd rather make my own, right? Than try to chase a really decent one. It would cost $10 for one of them glass ones, so on. Right? They come in all sorts of forms, and you can get a similar other molds that can be for glass if you want to later on. Which I'm about to get into metal. Right? I've actually just been looking at metal mints, little mini ones. You can get them pretty cheap on there too, down to about $200 for a metal kit. So 6 kilo. You can melt down 6 kilo bucket of metal. Right? You just need to get yourself some, they call it some gas. Run it off it. So I've got some gas bottles still. I used to have a few gas bottles, but I'm just down about 2 or so now at the moment. And you can melt metal down. And I've got a lot of metal scrap. And I can melt it down, and you can use certain sands and certain molds you can make up yourself with sheathing and stuff like that, and other crap that you use to make just a mold that just appears, right? So you can make molds, right? When it comes to metal, I pour it in, or I can have spots where I pour and I can dip crystals and work with metal and pour lines and join things by pouring metal. Right? And I haven't done that. I've seen it all. I know how it rolls. So it's quite interesting. I've played it in the other areas when it comes to wood and design and all that kind of stuff. You always start in different areas. And I'm about to finish with the rock. I'll have me field of rock and where I'm going to go out and find rocks and how I'm going to put things together and learn things in that area. So I'm about to finish up on that because I'm well and truly, I've had enough of it, really. Right? But I can still do it every now and then instead of constant every day and how can I do the best with this item and that, right? Finishing up on that area. And move on to using it with metal and metal other things and metal things a bit more. Right? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'll show you a bit later on your little molds, and I'll let you know the difference. I might see if I can order some scales to find out, as I was talking about, when it comes to weighing. I need to weigh things, but I haven't got any scales to weigh certain things. I've got kitchen scales, big heavy kitchen scales, but no scales, and broken, crappy media ones, but they're broken, that weigh like, what do they call it? Butter. When you do butter and stuff like that, you get little scales, little square, so you can do that for your cooking and stuff. I had total memory blank on butter. Oh, anyway, have a good one, everybody, and see you later.